Full disclosure, the voice you are listening to now is artificially generated, brought to you by satisphonic.com. See the link in the description for more details. What really successful person was ruined by one stupid thing they said? Adam Osborne, founder of the moderately successful Osborne Computer Corporation, destroyed his business by announcing future products that would greatly outperform the current models. This announcement caused all of the existing pre-orders for the current generation model to be cancelled in anticipation of a better product. The company successfully cannibalized all of its own sales, didn't have enough capital to continue raid on the later product line, and soon folded. Thus the term Osborne effect was born. I'm something of a moron myself, Adam Osborne. But in the 1990s, it was common for companies to lie about products coming soon that were better than rivals' new products. This vaporware would reduce the sales of the rival company's products and give extra time for developing competing products. True, but the idea is to sell a lot of your current product first. Then you start talking up the coming, soon product. That's why Apple releases always starts with "This is the best iPhone we have designed." Explains why he created the Goblin Serum. He must have been desperate. Glenn Hoddle, a football manager in England, who managed the national team and got sacked after expressing his view that disabled people are people who sinned in past lives and were being punished for it. Damn, guess who's gonna be disabled in their next life? Not Kanye, that's for damn sure. It's crazy that he got a second chance from the powers that be. Second, third, fourth, fifth, that mine lives. That female prayer rep who tweeted a small group of friends about going to South Africa and hoping she wouldn't get AIDS. Just kidding, I'm white. Before hopping on a plane, when she got off the plane many hours later, her life was ruined. I highly suggest reading the book So You've Been Publicly Shamed. There's a corresponding podcast too. Some people seem to be of the opinion that Twitter is a private group chat. It is in fact not that at all. I called out a relative for something shitty they tweeted. They said, "You invaded my privacy and I didn't invite you to look at my Twitter." That's not how that worked. Oh, is this where the Brian Griffin tweet joke is from? Clayton Williams was a shoo-in for governor of Texas in 1990, until he made a statement that likened the crime of rape to bad weather, having stated, "If it's inevitable, just relax and enjoy it." Edit, corrected shoe to shoe. There was a local weatherman in New York who said that on the air back in the 70s, it didn't end well for him either. Hats, en Wikipedia, Ojukitexi Antoine Rapatkeps Antoine, repeat gears. Having a section called Rape Quip in your Wikipedia entry is rough. Understatement of the year so far. So he made the joke after the story of the attempted rape of an 8-year-old, and then that the guy who introduced his replacement on the next broadcast immediately made a lie back and relaxed joke about that. This is wheels within wheels. Yeah, that anchor, Roger Grimsby, was known for cracking really dry jokes and occasional off-the-wall shit. This one was, of course, painfully unfunny. He was also massive drunk. So was Tex Antoine, for that matter. Edit. The guy who made the second joke wasn't the new weatherman. It was the anchor, Grimsby, introducing the new weatherman, Stormfield, who did night weather for decades. Not nearly as offensive as another one of these, Republican Senate candidate Richard Murdoch said in Indiana when pressed about a rape exception for abortion, "I think even when life begins in that horrible situation of rape, that's something God intended to happen, even in 2012, that race was a slam dunk for Republicans." Then he popped off with, "Well, God wanted her to get raped, so it's all good, and he lost the race." To this day, it is insane to me that Todd Akin became the face of stupid abortion objections in the same cycle where something that horrifying was dropped on the public. Todd Akin became the face of stupid abortion comments that race cycle because 1. His comment was first, and 2. Honestly, his comment was way worse. Todd Akin claimed that a woman's body has a way of shutting things down. When a rape occurs such that they can't get pregnant from rape, which is basically saying that any pregnant woman who says they were raped is lying. Murdoch, meanwhile, just said an extremely stupid and insensitive version of everything is God's plan. Murdoch's comment was a real surprise, though, because I truly didn't expect a second Republican candidate in the same cycle to flub such an easy race by making some brain-dead comment about abortion rape exception. Gerald Ratner, who ran a hugely successful UK chain of low-cost jewellery shops, He was giving a speech at the Royal Albert Hall and said, copied and pasted from Wikipedia. We also do cut glass sherry decanters, complete with 6 glasses on a silver-plated tray that your butler can serve you drinks on, all for C4.95. People say, how can you sell this for such a low price? I say, because it's total crap. He compounded this by going on to remark that one of the sets of earrings was cheaper than a prawn sandwich from Marks and Spencer's, but I have to say the sandwich will probably last longer than the earrings. The company's share price tumbled by hundreds of millions of pounds, and the company was a whisker away from total collapse. He was sacked and the company changed its name. What on earth was he thinking? Why would he say that in a speech? People used to drink a lot during business meetings. I'm sure he was plastered. It was some sort of CEO mutual backslapping jolly. I think his mistake was not imagining the press would pick it up. £500 million in the early 90s, worth about £1 billion these days. It really says how big the company was that they could take a hit that big and still not go under. Gerald Ratner ran a jewellery empire until he made a joke about his own products being crap. And May's prawn sandwich would last longer. Lo, one sentence ruined his extremely successful business overnight. It is a misconception. It ruined his business. They changed the name to Signet Group afterwards. It is the world's largest retailer of diamond jewellery and has an annual revenue of over $7 billion. Came here thinking of shrimp sandwich, jewellery dude. £500 million in the early 90s, worth about £1 billion these days. It really says how big the company was that they could take a hit that big and still not go under. See, Low Green actually tweeted, someone is passed out, they're not even with you consciously, so with implies consent, regarding sexual battery accusations. Edit, to add, another tweet said people who have really been raped remember. I mean when you're accused of something and you loudly tell the world you're guilty. I don't even understand this. Is he saying as long as the person you're having sex with isn't unconscious, you're all good? If I'm understanding it right, he's trying to insanely argue that if someone is past you and you have sex with them, it's not rape since, in his insane thinking, they aren't with you. Essentially, it sounds like, to him, if you don't say no for literally any reason, including if you're passed out, that's consent. Thanks for puzzling that out for me. Obviously, he's an idiot because he can't even phrase his asinine thoughts well. The British boy band Blue were about to push to make it in the US when Lee Ryan, one of the singers, said that 911 at the time was blown out of proportion and went on to say something like we should be thinking about the animals instead. Lost their record deal. Michael Kramer Richards shot himself in both feet with that wildly bizarre N-word rant. I watched it again recently, and I cannot fathom what was going through his head. I honestly think the insanity of that one is severely understated. He didn't just say the N-word. He yelled it several times at a group of black people in his audience immediately after making a joke about lynching them. Easily the worst comedian snaps back at heckler's moment ever caught on tape. I remember seeing this when I was in 7th grade, almost right after it happened. We all thought it was wild. Like, damn, what a crazy rant. He gonna be in trouble for that one for a while. I watched it again recently, and it hits way harder in 2020. Like, damn, I can't believe he knowingly said that in public. I'm not defending him, but it just didn't seem as absolutely batshit crazy at the time. My favorite part of the ordeal is that during the minute or so after the initial obscenities, where Richards was still trying to work the room, during which he said the word 2 more times, the dude actually yelled back, "This is why you're a reject." Never had no shows, never had no movies. Said for, was it? Richards didn't really have anything to spit back after that. Onyx on 2, Terrence Howard. Didn't help, he also beat his ex-wife. Not in a math test, he didn't. J. Thomas, recurring character on Cheers, playing Carla's husband. Then on a radio show, he made a disparaging comment about kissing Rhea Perlman, and he was immediately fired. Then they killed his character by having him get run over off-screen by a Zamboni machine. He was a hockey player, and at the funeral, it's discovered that he was a bigamist with a second wife and set of twins. So Carla changes her name back to Tortelli, so as not to be confused with the other Mrs. Laybeck, just to fully erase him from the show. Imagine screwing up so badly that they kill your character off-screen and make him a terrible person post-mortem. Ron Atkinson, football commentator and former football manager. inexplicably called dieselly the N-word, whilst on air he thought the mic was off. I read that as Rowan Atkinson, and my heart skipped for a second. No, not Mr. Bean. Red's announcer, Tom Brenneman. He got caught in a hot mic with a homophobic slur about the city of San Francisco and ended his broadcasting career. He was doing well because he also worked nationally for Fox Sports. There's a drive into deep left field by Castellanos. Don Emus, nappy-headed hose. I was an assistant in a journalism class about 7 years ago. We brought that up as an example discussing professionalism when on camera, and one of the students asked, was that in the 1960s or something? His jaw dropped when I said it was in 2007. DaBaby was on his way to being one of the biggest rappers, having been on big singles by Dua Lipa and Jack Harlow. And then, for whatever reason, decided to go on stage and say he doesn't want gays with AIDS at his concert, and say he doesn't want gays with AIDS at his concerts, and then his career completely unraveled from there. Edit. Everyone saying his fall-off was bound to happen. It literally did not happen until this incident. Look. Sounds like something someone in 1985 would have said. To be fair, I think that incident was only part of the reason he fell off. He was already getting less and less support because people thought every song sounds the same. So while his comments may have ruined any mainstream features, he was already losing traction in his core genre anyways. Kinda like Lil Baby right now. Todd Akin, this was the legitimate rape idiot that was a shoo into the US Senate just because he was a Republican in Missouri. With regard to having an abortion after a woman is raped, he said, well, you know, people always want to try to make that as one of those things. Well, how do you slice this particularly tough sort of ethical question? First of all, from what I understand from doctors, that's really rare. Third, if it's a legitimate rape, the female body has ways to try to shut that whole thing down. But let's assume that maybe that didn't work or something. I think there should be some punishment, but the punishment ought to be on the rapist and not attacking the child. If your response to, should a woman be allowed to get an abortion if she is raped, is more than one sentence long, just stop talking. Is anything other than one three-letter word starting with I and ending with is. Danny Mathers, the Playboy bunny who secretly filmed a 70-year-old woman changing in a La Fitness locker room and posted it to Snapchat. She body-shamed her, and as a result was sued. She was fired from her radio job and had a lifetime ban from La Fitness. That one pissed me off so bad. My gym has a lot of older and elderly women who come kick ass and take names. I admire them and would quietly listen to their banter in the locker room. There was one really elderly woman who was lotioning up at the dressing table one day when I noticed a tattoo on her forearm. An actual Holocaust survivor there doing pilates. That's been years ago, and she's likely gone by now, but she inspired me that day to drag my ass to the gym and be grateful to be there. Danny Mathers can eat a bag of moldy dicks. Adam Smith, a CFO at a large medical device manufacturer in Arizona, decided to go on a rant to a random drive-through employee about Chick-fil-A donating money to anti-logbook.orgs and accusing the employee of being a supporter just because she was working there. He filmed the entire thing and posted it online hoping to get adulation, only to end up losing his job, being completely unemployable and ending up on food stamps. Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert comic strip, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the fuck away. Wherever you have to go, just get away because there's no fixing this. You just have to escape, so that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, you know, I have a very low black population. I can't believe I had to scroll down this far to see Adams. He went away so fast too. His publicist dropped him and in a nanosecond he was out of every paper. I'm really surprised nobody said Papa John yet. He built a pizza empire and was in every commercial until the racism came out. I've had over 40 pizzas in the last 30 days. My husband and I still quote this at each other, regularly edit to add a link, since some people apparently don't understand what quoting means. Hets, you, Big Fusikson, 178, feature shared. Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. If all he'd done was yell that at the stage, there would probably have been plenty of people on his side. And then all the ridiculousness of his cuckolded marriage tumbled out into public knowledge. Everything I know about their marriage has been against my will. Everything I know Jada does in their marriage is against will. This was my first thought too, but Will Smith didn't just say something. He legitimately assaulted a peer on national TV in front of thousands of people in the audience during the industry's most prestigious event of the year. He should have been charged with an actual crime. His action was definitely worse than a messed up tweet or comment during an interview. Then he sat down and enjoyed the rest of the show like nothing happened. B.O.B. due to all the conspiracy things he said, especially about flat earth, etc. You couldn't go anywhere without hearing his music, and he was a massive success. He seemed to be destined to be around for a while, and then he just drove people away. A well-known Hungarian news anchor, István Palfi, returned to the screen after a few years. Among others, he was an MP for a writers' party for one cycle in the news channel Here TV. News TV? This was a kind of an event this summer lacking all other interesting stuff. First in the morning, he expressed his opinion in an interview that pedophile people are sick and one must be patient with sick people. He did not appear on screen at 7:30 am. The next program he would have to appear in, as he was fired on the spot. The reason for this was clearly communicated by the channel. Google translated article on the event. Heps, telex, hoops, boo. Translate Google fold 20,230,822 porfi. Divan, Heif, Peragaj, Oxtrasli, Quxtri Kutler, Leska Klite, V6, Yubdala Wapos. To his letter to edit, the linked article contains the exact wording, what he said. As I understand, non-practicing pedophiles are sick, while practicing pedophiles are obviously scum deserving neither patience nor sympathy. So unless I'm misunderstanding his statement, it isn't that bad, just not specific enough. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis for defending Danny Masterson rape charges. It's still early, so we shall see how it affects their careers. Around this time, Demi Moore released her autobiography, and it had messed up stuff about him. Like the fact that he asked for an open relationship and invited a third person into their bedroom. He also slept with one of the friends of Demi's daughters. Their whole relationship was so weird to me. What did she see in him? Beautiful, talented, sure a little older, but he's such a goober. She could have done so much better. I still want to know what the hell they were thinking. That it wouldn't go public? That a long-time friend was in trouble, and only they could save him and a god complex took over? Ashton did so much in combating sex, trafficking. I just can't imagine what I'm missing and why they would support this rapist. Their apology didn't work for me. Kramer. I still want to know what the hell they were thinking. That it wouldn't go public? That a long-time friend was in trouble, and only they could save him and a god complex took over? Ashton did so much in combating sex, trafficking. I just can't imagine what I'm missing and why they would support this rapist. Their apology didn't work for me. Mel Gibson was really on his way to cementing his legacy as an artist, a capable actor and director. Very few people can direct and act in a movie and make it awesome. But he got drunk and revealed some really evil opinion. And this caused some people to step forward and confirm that this moment was really indicative of his values. Depressing. While in public Mel Gibson's career is over, I think he's still going strong behind the scenes. Howard Dean, Jimmy the Greek Snyder, Tom Brenneman, Ben Wright, Steve Lyons, Glenn Keeper, all sports commentators that said racial or sexist things in interviews or live on air. From a lot of what I see, the Elon Musk public opinion flipped when he got really into Twitter. The public perceived him to be a super smart guy who must be a genius. Then he got on Twitter and ruined that perception by continually tweeting. I disliked him before that and never understood people's reverence towards him. Then he started shitting on the diver trying to save those kids and showed how much of a thin-skinned baby-dicked bitch he really is. Don Cherry. He said some other really dumb stuff, but there was one show where he said you people when talking shit about immigrants to Canada on a hockey show, and that was it for him. Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert, hugely successful and in just about every newspaper. Then he voiced his nutjob conspiracy theories, and Dilbert was dropped by all of them. He also claims he's a master of erotic hypnosis. I've scrolled really far and have not seen anyone mention Sinead O'Connor. Fight the Real Enemy Rip ruined her career in 4 seconds. Well, to be fair, the question asked about stupid things people did to implode their careers. She did the right thing and got shit on for it.